And joining us this morning are 17 News political analysts Neel Sannappa and Clayton Campbell. Neel representing the left and Clayton on the right. And a little bit about each of them. Neel serves as the California Democratic Assembly District Delegate representing the 34th Assembly District. And Clayton is a local criminal defense attorney with the law firm Campbell & Witten. And he's also a member of the Kern County Republican Central Committee. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so Neel, let's start with you. I mean, this is the Democratic debate, of course. What were some of the key takeaways that you saw last night with the first, we should mention, the first 10 candidates?
So I think going into this debate, we kind of, the DNC tried to make it to where there was no JV debate, right? But they ended up pulling, names out of a hat to decide that, and it turned out to be that this was more of the JV debate in general. That being said, Elizabeth Warren was the top tier candidate, kind of in this debate.
In this round, yes.
Yeah, in this round here, and I think she held her ground. I think somebody that we saw kind of emerge was Julian Castro. He did a really great job last night, and he kind of was able to, there was kind of a Texas shootout, I'd like to say, between him and Beto O'Rourke, and Castro definitely came out as the winner among those two.
Were there any candidates up there last night that you were disappointed in the debate?
No, I wouldn't say I was disappointed in any of the candidates.
Underperformed?
Underperformed, I would probably say just O'Rourke in general. He had a lot of momentum when he first launched his campaign. Ever since then, he's kind of been on the downtrend, and last night it seemed as if, that trend was continuing. But for the most part, I think, most of them performed well. We're still 200 and something days away from
250
250 days away from our primary. So we'll see how the rest of them fare. There's 12 more debates until especially until we vote here in California. So we'll see how things go.
Clayton, did any of the candidates strike you as trying to appeal to any centrist independent voters? I've heard some analysts call this last debate kind of a race to the left as far as hitting on those really progressive topics. Any of those seem to strike a chord with any independent voters?
Well, first I want to say that all the Republicans out there should know that I took one for the team and I watched that entire debate last night. It was very difficult to do. But no, I think that Congressman Ryan and former Congressman Delaney and to some small extent, Amy Klobuchar, they did try to appeal to some of the middle American voters that I think felt left out in previous elections, and that's why we saw so many blue-collar voters vote for Donald Trump in some of these Rust Belt states that went red for the first time in some time. That's why I think that those people have zero chance of getting the nomination for the Democratic Party. I don't think that we're going to see Ryan or Delaney have any chance of moving forward. They're far too reasonable.
And what do you think about that, Neel? Do you think that these candidates who are maybe trying to strike more of an independent tone have a chance at the nomination?
You know what? I mean, I think when you look at polling, especially when it comes to the left and the right, I think we try to put things on a left and right metric a lot of the times, but in reality, I think folks voted for Donald Trump in the last election because of his anti-establishment appeal. Someone else who kind of has that anti-establishment appeal right now is Bernie Sanders, who we'll see tonight. And I think a lot of the candidates that were kind of going towards the left yesterday were repeating sound bites that we heard in 2016 from Senator Sanders himself. So in a way, I think that if you wanted to talk about a winner in last night's debate, the folks on the stage were Julian Castro, like I said, and Elizabeth Warren. I think she fared well enough. And I think their messaging can draw in independent voters as well. And I think Bernie Sanders was the winner that wasn't on the stage last night. His ideas prevailed when you look at the ideology of where the Democratic Party is heading.
And Clayton, I got to ask you, because we do have one more night of debates. The last debate of the last 10 candidates will be tonight. For Republicans, I know they were very active on Twitter yesterday during the debate. What are Republicans looking for when they were watching these debates with the Democratic candidates?
I think what all Republicans expect is people to mimic the Bernie Sanders socialism platform. It's a combination of two things that we expect from Democrats. One, the Democrats will express how much they hate Donald Trump, hoping that they will convince their voters that they hate him as much as they do. And the other thing we're going to see is a a race to see who can be the most generous Santa Claus with everybody else's money. And we saw that with Elizabeth Warren last night, offering to pay off student loans, even for wealthy people. Amy Klobuchar called her out on that. We saw all these other entitlement promises, further promises with respect to health care, eliminating private health insurance. I don't think that these types of platforms are going to resonate with mainstream American voters. This is a far left socialist theme on the Democratic ticket, and that's what it takes to get nominated in that party. What Republicans were really looking at, I think, was entertainment value, because we're seeing some of the most radical and crazy stuff from people on the far left in these Democratic debates.
All right, and we will have much more to talk about. Again, round 2 is happening tonight at 6 o'clock here on TV 17, and you gentlemen will be joining us again tomorrow morning, I believe, to further analyze what we hear.
All right, thanks so much for coming in.
Much.
Thanks for having us.